Hello everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into this video on the powerful topic, Let God Lead You and You Will See Everything Fall into Place. I'm truly excited to share this inspirational message with you all today in hopes that it will encourage you to fully surrender your life to God's guidance and plans. I want to take a moment to thank all of our existing subscribers for your continued love and support. It means so much. For those of you who are new here, please consider subscribing and clicking the bell icon so you don't miss any future uploads which could contain insight that changes your life forever. Also, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and leave your thoughts in the comments below. Now, without further delay, I invite you to open your hearts as we delve into this message. I promise you won't want to miss any part, as valuable wisdom will be shared through powerful testimonies in Scripture. My prayer is that God will deeply move and speak to each one of you through His Word. So let's get started. Now, before I dive in, let me ask you, have you ever felt insecure about the direction of your life? Has there ever been a time when no matter how hard you tried, things just weren't working out the way you planned? I'm willing to bet that most, if not all of us here, have experienced periods of uncertainty, frustration, and lack of progress at some point or other in our journeys. It's only natural to have moments when we feel lost, confused, or unsure of which path to take next. Life presents us with many complicated decisions, obstacles, and unforeseen challenges that we aren't always equipped to handle alone with our limited human abilities and perspective. At such times, our plans often fail. Opportunities seem to slip through our fingers and we feel stuck in place despite our best efforts. It's easy to lose hope and begin doubting our purpose. But friends, let me encourage you today not to lose heart. Let me share with you the secret to truly finding life's meaning, direction, and breakthrough, surrendering complete control over to God. Believe me when I tell you that within the shelter of God's will is where we find perfect peace, provision, and the fulfillment of our destinies. God has purposes for each one of us that are far greater than anything we could ever orchestrate on our own. When we allow Him to take the lead instead of insisting on our own agendas, that's when everything falls magically into place. I understand this may sound easier said than done, especially in an age where independence and self-reliance are so highly prized. Surrendering our will can feel risky because it means stepping out in faith instead of depending on our sight and abilities. It requires humility to admit that God understands our paths better than we do ourselves. However, true freedom isn't found in having all the answers or calling the shots, but in obeying the one who created us perfectly and loves us unconditionally. When under God's guidance, we experience a peace that transcends all understanding, keeping our minds stayed on Him no matter the storms around us. All worry and anxiety melts away as we transfer the burdens of our hearts and lives over to His everlasting arms. And what's more, we discover the amazing things He can do when our obedience unlocks His control. Friends, I urge you to test this out for yourself if you haven't already. Make a habit of consistently seeking God's face in prayer and watching how He leads your steps according to promises far greater than anything the world has to offer. Now let me share a personal testimony to illustrate this further. Around 4 years ago, I found myself in a real rut, feeling despondent about the direction of my career. I had graduated with a degree that I soon realized wasn't very marketable. No matter how hard I applied or revised my resume, rejection after rejection piled up, leaving me discouraged and unmotivated. All my hopes of using my qualifications seemed wasted. Late one night in tears, I poured out my heart to God, asking Him to please show me what to do. In the weeks that followed, the idea of completely switching fields was implanted in my mind. It felt crazy since I had no background or connections, but an inner prompting kept urging me to look into it. After much prayer and deliberation, I decided to pursue teacher certification through an accelerated program. It was a huge leap of faith since teaching elementary kids had never been on my radar. But stepping out in obedience to God's leading brought me so much peace that I knew I was on the right track. Friends, let me tell you, it has been the most fulfilling job I could ask for. And 3 years later, I'm so glad I trusted God's guidance when my own wisdom failed. It's just one example of how He directed my steps far better than any plan of my own making ever could have. As humans, we have such a limited perspective, restricted by the confines of time and the finite information available to our senses. But our perfect Father sees the whole mosaic from start to finish. He knows every detail that must fall into place to accomplish His purpose for our lives, according to His divine timeline. That's why it's vital that we seek His will above all else and follow wherever He leads, moment by moment, even if the path doesn't make logical sense. Surrendering control to God might mean venturing down roads you never planned for yourself, stepping out of your comfort zone into unknown areas and facing fears you'd rather avoid. But friends, God's plans always lead to our highest good, even when we don't understand at the time. I can attest that every challenge I faced along the way became a blessing in disguise, strengthening my character and faith as He carved my story into a masterpiece far above anything I could shape myself. Now, I recognize this is not always an easy road that is walked by feelings alone. Staying on God's path means actively cultivating our faith through Bible study, fellowship, worship, and obedience. But I can promise that the peace, joy, and breakthroughs will far outweigh any self-made alternatives we could ever construct apart from Him. God never abandons those whose hearts are inclined towards His will, and He finishes the good work He begins in us. In conclusion, never forget that your lives have purpose and His plans are good. When confusion arises, don't seek logic. Seek God alone through humility and prayer. Cast anxieties onto Him each day, and though obstacles may loom, sing praises that affirm His love and sovereignty. Then watch in awe as what was once broken falls perfectly together under His skillful hand. Friends, may you walk confidently led by heaven's light, knowing your Father sees clearly what is ahead. Let God be your pilot. The rest He will take care of. Thank you all for your time. I pray this message has encouraged you to release control into the hands that built the universe. May you find true freedom, peace, and alignment with destiny by faithfully following close behind our Good Shepherd each step of the way. God bless you.